Am I recording? Okay. Now I'm gonna call this function like this. Build object, and I pass idran, and then alias. Can I call this function like this? Let's try it. No errors. But what's this inside this function now? So I didn't instantiate with new. So this inside this function, what would be?
Well, is it going to overwrite the idran in alias or not?
See, but inside the function, I didn't create an object. So if I create an object, this is going to be the object that you created, okay? In this case, I didn't create an object. I just called the function. So this here, you're going to see now what it is. Let's put alert first name. Would it work like this? Who says undefined? Who says idran? Idran. Why?
Is it recognizing that it's not this, that it's not an object, so it just takes the first name and not
Not exactly. You have to tell me this was this inside.
Maybe it's a global object.
The global object, and the name of the global object, what it is? Window. Okay, if I put window, it's going to work. So if you don't instantiate an object with new, if you use this inside the function, it's going to be the global object, the main object that is window. And it was a nice bug because if I put, for example, here this alert, and I put here, for example, function, console.log here. So after calling this function, so I have this alert here. I'm going to call alert here. Okay, after calling build object. Take a look. It's going to use console.log. You're overriding the main function of the window object. And it happened to us in Link. We put this .print, and then we couldn't print from the window to the printer because we have overridden the print function of the global object. And that's why I said, okay, I have to understand what this is. And then I learned that if you, of course, if you then put var t equals new, it doesn't happen, okay? You say undefined because now we don't have this. Okay, remember, if you build a function to create objects, don't forget the new. Because otherwise, whatever you write into this inside the function is going to refer to the window object. That's a very important thing to learn in JavaScript. It's weird and it's pretty weird. The second thing that is pretty weird in JavaScript is that you can call a function and you can say to JavaScript, okay, I'm going to call this function, but the object to refer to is this object. Okay, and you can see here function dot call. But not this. Okay, you can see the syntax. You pass this and then the argument. So let's see an example. I have this function. And let's get first name like that. And then let's put this punto last name like before equals last name. And let's put the function this dot get first name, and let's return this dot first name. Okay, let's see if there's okay equals function. Question number 1, can I put this thing here like this? And you could say, of course we can. JS Business doesn't yield any error. It might seem that we can. Yes, of course we can. But we can also call test inside here, because I gave it a name here. It's not an anonymous function, but a name function. So you can do it. If you want to reuse also this function like test, you can do it. Nothing wrong with that. But if you get a property, there's no use on doing this. So if I call here alert t.get first name, of course you know now that is going to return Idran. Okay, now let's do this. Var my object equals, and I'm going to put this get first name here, but not with this, but doing like this, like an object. And I'm gonna put here first name John. What did I put wrong? Okay, here and here. So this is a way of creating an object also. So we can create an object with a function, but we can create an object with this. So we can call this my object like this. Get first name. Okay, let's alert this value. And you see that no, because I okay, we have the first call here. Okay, so we have Idran for the first one and John for the second one. Now let's put this one, my object punto get first name dot call, and let me see if this is the T. Complicated now. Let's comment out this one.
You don't need to put this T, no?
Where? No, T, I created an object here. Now I'm calling this method in my object. There is a different object, but I'm passing, you can see here the function, this argument, I'm passing a different object. So here, you see Idran, you don't see John. Because I'm calling get first name in another object. So this is very weird in JavaScript. I think that is very beautiful. But you can say function, you're not pointing to my object. Here, get first name. Please, when you refer to this, you have to refer to this object called T. So get first name, say okay, no problem. You are asking here for this first name. I'm going to take this object called T, and I'm going to look for first name, and I see that it's Idran. No problem with that. And even you can pass function to pass. You can see that you can call a function with a method call pass. Where is the scope? That's the name of the, in JavaScript, the scope of the function. If we call like this without call, the scope of the function is the same object, okay? And we would see John. Okay? But if we invoke this function with this method call, we can specify what the scope of this function is, and the scope would be this object T. Okay? Or we can put, for example, var first name equals window first name, and then we can pass window here. And say Windows first name. So it doesn't care about what object you pass here. Okay? And if you don't put that variable, it's going to say undefined. Okay? No problem. So you can steal methods from objects to use it in another object. You can apply those method functions from one object into other object. And you can use it calling the name of the function, that call, you pass the object where you want to execute this function, and then you pass argument 1, argument 2 if you have to pass argument. There is another one that is apply, and apply is the same thing as call, but the difference is that you pass an array of arguments instead of passing argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. So if you call apply here, it's the same thing if you call it with only one argument. Okay? And if I change and put T, it's going to work the same thing. The difference is that let's see if we have it here, apply. The difference is that apply receives the second parameters as an array. So the parameters to pass to the function, you have to pass it in an array. Okay? You see, you pass the object to execute the function on, and then all the arguments that you need to pass to that function in an array. And then if you call the method call, you pass the object and then every parameter separated by comma. That's the only difference. So this part is very important. Remember, the meaning of this in the object, you don't know it till you call the function. This can mean anything. It depends how you call that function. If you call with new, then that method is going to refer to that object. If you use the .call or .apply, it depends on what object you pass as the first parameter. Okay? This is very important to understand. Watch the lesson once again if you have any doubts, because it's very important in JavaScript. These are the tricky things of JavaScript that is pretty hard to find in manuals, so you have to read a lot of articles, and I have condensed here in a few lessons. Once you understand the concept of this in JavaScript, the concept of creating objects with JavaScript, the rest is easy. Let me see how much time. Okay. Let's create a new file and see the new difference of the new method of creating object that is with class. It's very easy, because whatever you learn about function, it applies to classes. So class is just a beautiful name to do the same thing that we did with function. So in JavaScript, you put class, the name of the class, let's say vehicle. Okay. Then you open the curly braces. You put to construct the class, you put constructor. Let me see if I remember the syntax, because I haven't used it so much. And let's say that, let's put, for example, this name equals, and let's put a variable here, name. Okay, and let's build a vehicle, say var my car. You put new vehicle, Okay, let's see if the syntax is like that, if I didn't forget what I studied. Okay, no error. Let's alert. Let's put also a method function get name, and you can return this dot name. And let's alert here my car dot get name. What was the error here?
Maybe you need to pass the value for the constructor.
Let's say no unexpected identifier 2222.
Maybe it's not the constructor.
No, let's see.
Some other name.
Here's this name. Okay, let's see if it's in the constructor. No, is there something else that I...
Are you sure it's the name constructor, the constructor? Or?
Let's see. I think I'm sure this constructor, but let's see in Babel. But I think it's the right syntax. Unexpected token, get name. Now the problem is here. No, maybe we have to put like a property get name and then function. Let me see if it is the syntax. No, we don't have to use a function. It's like in Java. Get name. Okay, we don't use function. That's the problem. Get name and then we return. Okay, this dot name. The problem is you don't have to put function. It's like in Java. You don't put function. Okay, so that was the problem that I forgot. So no function. Okay, let's run it again and let's alert. Okay, and it works. It's like in Java. So the thing that I want to show you that this is only syntactic sugar that they like they say in English is that in fact this thing, let's put here console.log type of this, and you're gonna laugh. Function. So it's a goddamn function at the end. It's just a very nice way to create an object. It's very it's simple to write it like that instead of creating function and prototype. Of course, that as soon as it's available everywhere, I'm gonna use this kind of syntax because it's better. But in the end, vehicle, you put class, but it's not a class, it's a function. And you can put also the prototype, vehicle.prototype punto get uppercase name, for example, equals function return this name to uppercase. Okay, and now I'm going to call this get upper name in my car. Where? Okay. So I'm going to call now this method on the object my car. So where?
Yeah, it's okay.
You can see it.
You have the alert.
Yeah, but
No, this is the first alert. Okay, let's take it off. And here you see the console.log. Okay, to uppercase. So it's the same as we have seen in the previous lesson. It's the same that if I put here function, but then I would have to put function and then put and then here and then not constructor, so I have to put name here and take off this thing, and then put this dot get name equals function. Just that. It's just a simple way of writing a function. So let's leave the object class. Okay, get name. Okay. And now if we put it into Babel, you're going to see what it builds. You can see that it creates this function that is called create class, and then here he declares the function. You can see var vehicle function, function vehicle name, and find this name equals name. Then it calls create class, this method here, in order to put all the things inside. And you see the key get name value. So and here you can see that new vehicle, and they put get upper names to the vehicle prototype. Here it maintains the same thing because it's cross, both for class and function. So this code would work in any other browser. As you can see, it's the same thing. Okay, let's stop here.